Hey guys, this is Eric at Reel Rollers. If you're anything like me, you're ready to get mowing, but there are a couple of things we need to go over from the off season to make sure that our Edwin is good to go for the spring. So the only thing you'll need to do the annual maintenance on the engine is a service kit, which includes the oil, air filter, and spark plug. I recommend keeping a couple extra belts and cables on hand just in case. The best thing about a Swardman mower is that all the tools that you'll need to do your inspection and maintenance for the year can be found in the tool pouch. The only tool you might need is a 13/16 deep socket for changing the spark plug. All right guys, so the first thing I like to do is go tip to tail with the bolts. Just go in and make sure that they're all nice and tight. These first two, I'm not going to worry about for now. We're going to talk more about them when we do cable adjustments. So these bolts look like they're good and tight. I'll go all the way down the handlebar, just make sure there's no play in any of the bolts. Now don't forget about these two bolts here, as they connect your handlebars down to the body of the mower. Alright, so this bolt was a little bit loose, so what I like to do is take it out, put Loctite on it, and then reinstall it. Now that I've got my magnetic side cover off, I like to check and make sure that all the bolts are in place and tight. Alright, so now that we've made sure that all of our bolts are nice and tight, we're going to just check our belts, make sure there aren't any frays or breakage in the belts. So one of the awesome things we started doing in 2020 is on the inside of the magnetic cover, we've been putting these parts diagrams to make it easier for you to locate the parts. If you don't have one of these, give us a call or email and we'll send you one for free. All right guys, back to tip to tail, we're going with the cables now. You'll notice that all three of these cables connect to the handlebars using a lock nut. That's so that they can pivot. If you notice that your cable isn't pivoting, just loosen up the lock nut just a little bit. All right guys, now we're going to check the other ends of the cables underneath the magnetic cover. One thing you want to be sure of is that you have slack in the cable when the paddle is not engaged. So when checking for proper adjustment of these cables, what I like to do is take the tensioner and apply pressure, and then I depress the paddle, let go of the tensioner and make sure it stays in the same place. All right guys, we're on to the engine service now. Now, pro tip, what I like to do is change my height of cut down to 1/4 inch so that the engine is level with the ground. There are three different components we're going to be covering with engine maintenance: spark plug, air filter, and an oil change. I like to start with the easiest and change the air filter. To do that, I'm first going to remove this air filter cover. Next, I'm going to remove this wing nut to remove the air filter. Now the air filter should just come out. I like to replace the air filter about once a year, and about halfway through the mowing season, I'll take it out and clean it. If you notice any grass, debris, or dust around the air intake, be sure to clean that out. If you notice that your black casing is moving when you adjust the throttle at the handlebars, it's a simple adjustment. Just pull the black casing back and then tighten the screw that holds the clasp for the throttle cable. Now we're on to the spark plug. First thing we need to do is remove the cap that's on the spark plug and move it out of the way. Next, using the 13/16 socket, you're going to remove the old spark plug and then reinstall a new one. Be sure to reinstall the cap onto the spark plug securely. Finally, we're going to reinstall the new air filter. Now we're going to reinstall the air filter cover. All right guys, we're on to the last step and then we can get mowing. We need to change the oil. Now, when it comes to removing the old oil from the engine, you have two options. If you still have the syringe used with your initial setup, you can use this in either one of the oil fills on the engine. A great thing about this engine is that it's used in a lot of different applications. So Briggs & Stratton has a fill on either side, the front and the back. It doesn't matter which one, all the oil goes through the same place. Same with the drain plug. There's a drain plug on the front and a drain plug in the back. Before tipping your mower back, be sure to turn the fuel off. Quick tip, if you're using the drain plug in the front, take the cartridge out first so you don't get oil all over your reel. Alright guys, lastly we need to fill it back up with oil. Every service kit comes with a bottle of oil. The Briggs & Stratton XR 550 takes 20 fluid ounces of oil. Pro tip, don't overfill it with oil. What I like to do is add oil and then periodically check the dipstick to make sure I'm not overfilling the engine. Alright guys, that concludes the Swardman annual preseason service and inspection video. All of these parts can be found at realrollers.com. If you liked the video, be sure to like and subscribe, and happy mowing.